So we've talked about quality, processes, cost really is a factor in terms of how AM can impact supply chains and fill these gaping holes that we saw in recent months. How do you deal with bottlenecks after the 3D printing process to lower the cost per part? And Dennis cites an example, identifying a high mix volume of 3D printed parts and sorting. So for example, suppose you have 200 parts in a batch that are in presumably a powder bed system, but I suppose it wouldn't have to be, but each part or many parts are different. How do you deal with that? It's one thing to to nest them and print them all at once, and there is economy of scale, as we know, with some of these systems. How do you deal with these wide mixes of parts and then dealing with them after they are built?
I'd maybe just start off here. It's a good point, and it's a challenge, right? And so we do a lot with cages to be able to take small parts and print them inside of a cage. We've also done things where we have medium-sized parts where we actually connect them with, say, a runner system, like you would see maybe an injection molding, but not that robust. It's just something to be able to help move them through the process, through the different stages of the workflows. But there's basically tricks of the trade to be able to use to be able to track and to pull them out of the build units.
I think the other thing I would add there is you can still create standard work, so that it might be a small number that you need to make today, but let's say next month you want to make some more, and the following month you want to make some more. You want to make sure that you're orienting them in a build tray, or you're putting them in the same position in a build box, and you're reducing all of the forms of variability for those parts. Now, look, if it's a prototype and some variation and the end product isn't going to matter, then that's okay. But if we're talking about high, complex, low volume production parts that are used for real applications, you still can create standards and follow those standards each step in the process, even in low volumes. And in a digital world, we have a digital workflow that allows us to do that now, which again, I think for us just speaks to the excitement about the industry that's growing around the great innovations in the machines that allow us to make sure those standards are followed every step of the way.
I'll add one last thing, Terry. We talked about high mix. There's continuing innovation in this space. The name of the company is escaping me right now, but I know at Formnext last year I saw a company that had basically a scanning tool where parts kind of flow through a particular a little box of sorts on a conveyor belt, and then a scan was done and some AI was used to quickly identify which part was which, and so that part of the flow could be addressed more efficiently. I wish I could go ahead and mention the name off the top of my head. I'm sorry, it's escaping me, but I think the broad point is that there is innovation taking place in this space to help manage this high mix problem / opportunity that exists in the 3D printing world.